everybody. How is everybody doing today? I hope you are all doing well. So, today I'm doing something that I haven't done before. I decided that I would go through and tell you my thoughts on the additional products that I have purchased to make diamond painting more enjoyable for myself. I am calling this a small shop review so that everybody knows my honest opinions from my experiences, and everybody's experiences can be different. Your opinions can vary. It's totally up to you. So I want everybody to remember that what I am comparing all of these things to is the original heart wax or the pink wax that comes in your kits. When you buy a kit from a company, it always comes with either a pink or a blue, very basic wax that will get the job done if that's the only thing you have. So bear in mind, I am comparing all of these to this type of product and also to the same product that is similar by multiple vendors. So overall, I personally feel like there's only one product in this stack that is worse than the pink wax, and that is this wax alternative from Not Your Pink Wax. I tried this particular alternative. I put it into my multi-placer because that's where I like to have my softer, my wax that's more directly like this. And I hated it. It left so much residue on my drills. What else? It left a bunch of residue. It compacted down to the point where I almost could not get it out of my multi-placer. It was really hard to get any off of this design that they have it in. Like having it in a shape's not a huge issue, but all these ridges and stuff, because, I don't know how well you can see it. But like it was a flower, and so when I tried to scrape it to put in my multi-placer, I scraped it from the back where it was smooth, and as you can see, it broke when I did that. And I used it in my multi-placer for like 40 minutes, and I pulled it out. I hated it. So from my experience, Not Your Pink Wax is not a good product. I would never buy it again. And any of the ones that I do have, I'll probably wind up just throwing away because I didn't like it. And bear in mind too, all of these products that I'm showing you, you get on Etsy. I will leave them linked below if you really want to go look at them. Totally up to you. Let's see, let's start with the, well, other than one of these is not from Etsy. This one right here is actually from Oralora. Now, when the first time I ordered from Oralora, or the first two or three times, two times, they included some of their in-house wax in addition to the pink wax in their kit. And I tried this one, and I tried it in my single placer. And it is equal to the pink wax. I found that it lasts just about as long, and is just as sticky, and if I remember correctly, it works just fine with ABs. I don't think it has any major issues outside of that. So this is the Oralora wax, which you can now actually purchase on its own. They do have it listed on their website for you to buy individually if that's what you're looking to do. Which, if you're looking for something to stay within the realm of the pink wax and is relatively cheap, that's a good alternative. The next one I'm going to go for is, this is, if we can get it to focus. Alright, so this is Randascorner, or Crafty Corner. I don't know if I just wound up with a bad batch or what, but I found that this pink alternative, and as you can see here, I used I used a good chunk of it. It wasn't just like one or two scrapings and I gave up. I tried it in my single placer and I tried it in my multi-placers, and I don't like it. It's far, far too soft. It leaves a horrible residue on my drills. It has a really, really hard time picking up and holding AB drills. I love the scent of it because I love the scent of peppermint, but I hate the actual wax. Now, I don't know if that's because I got a weird batch in an odd thing. Um, a lot of people said that they really like her wax alternative, and they enjoy using it. I did not have that experience. I don't like it. I'll probably save it for a rainy day. But overall, it wasn't a fun experience. It just wasn't. And so, sticking with that theme of where it's a direct comparison with the pink wax, I'm also going to show you, this is, now this wasn't the only scent of the original Paddy Wax, or the Paddy Wax alternative that I have tried, but this is the Sour Apple Candy from Paddy Wax on Etsy. Now, I just pulled out this scent because I didn't feel like pulling out the 4 other scents that I had used. This is a really, really good alternative for the pink wax if you're looking for something that lasts longer. It will last longer. It's easy to load into and out of your tools. I really like it for my multi-placing. I'm not a huge fan of it for single placing. And so I would recommend their wax for your multi-placers. They can be used in your multi-placer or single placer. I prefer them in my multi-placer, and I think you definitely get enough. As you can tell, it's a really thick container of it, but you definitely get enough for many projects. This one container right here would probably last you 2 or 3 years before you had to get another one. So I think that these are overall they're nice, but for me personally, I've chosen not to really use them anymore because I found another alternative that I really like. So if you haven't noticed, we're working from my least favorites to my favorites, and we're gonna keep going from there. So this is the Paddy Wax original. I forget what it's called exactly. In my notes and stuff, I just call it Paddy Wax regular. So this is the regular formula. It's not super sticky or anything like that, and it's great direct alternative to the pink wax. So on that note, those are all the ones that I would consider a direct alternative to this. Now, after that, I have here what I call the super sticky stuff. This is wax that you do not want to put in your multi-placers. I did one time, just as an experiment, I put some of Paddy Wax's super tacky into a multi-placer that I was fixing to throw away anyways, and tested out to see exactly what would happen. Don't do that. I'm gonna tell you right now, don't do it. It didn't turn out very well. The super tacky held on to the drills so hard that I had to basically pry them off of the multi-placer. So don't do that. When you buy this, Paddy Wax will even tell you that their super tacky formula is not designed for multi-placers. You put it in the single placer. That's what it's designed for. And to also be aware that you might have issues with it with ABs. Now, personally, I don't really give a hoot one way or another how things work with ABs, because I have found that when I'm working with ABs, I have to be extra careful about how I do my pressure anyways, because I'm a hard pusher. And So because when I work with ABs, I go extra light with how I pick them up and how I place them down. I haven't had any issues with using this on ABs. So if you're looking for a single placing alternative that's very tacky and strong and you don't usually have to change out very often, or it's really easy to just load in another layer if it gets too far into the tip and keep going, then Paddy Wax is super tacky is definitely that. So I do recommend that. I thoroughly enjoy using it. Uh, Usually, as long as you don't overload your pen, you don't have any residue left over. So we have that. Oh, and this is just like a sample thing that they included with my very first order, and it's apple peel or apple cinnamon or whatever. It smells like cinnamon, and because I have never been able to find the scent on the store again, I keep it in here so that every time I open this up, I get a nice little scent of cinnamon. Because the tacky is always unscented. There's never any scent in it. And in comparison to that, we have Randy's Craft Corner Hard and Tacky. And I got this here recently to try it because I wanted to compare it to the Paddy Wax because I like the Paddy Wax. This is a little bit cheaper than the Paddy Wax. It works very similarly, but for me personally, I found that the Paddy Wax lasts longer, by usually about double the amount of time. So, while this is this does work fantastically, for me personally, it doesn't last as long as Paddy Wax, and I would much rather use my Paddy Wax than this, just because the Paddy Wax lasts longer. For me, and that can always change for everybody else. But it's not a bad product. It is a good product. I would recommend it if you're looking for something that's a little bit cheaper than the Paddy Wax one, or that's a slightly smaller amount. So, yeah. So like, I mean, as you can see, the Paddy Wax one is almost, it's a little bit more than double the Randy's one. So I mean, yeah, you will get a little bit less wax, and so it's a little bit cheaper. So it's always up to you. But I enjoy both of them. I think they both work fantastic, but I do prefer the Paddy Wax over the rest. So now we're gonna move on into what seems to me that I've noticed seems to be a very controversial subject for people, and I'm not sure why. The putties that different companies have put out. So I really like the fact that Mary Mudd puts out sample pieces that you can buy of her putty. I sampled a whole. Her samples were like $2, and it's a nice little square that will actually last you a pretty good while. So she sends you. You can get the sample like I did, because I decided to get the sample because I didn't know how I was going to like the scents and stuff. So I got a bunch of different samples. And as you can see here, I've used a good chunk of the sample. I do like Mary Mudd's scents. I think her scents are really, really nice. This one right here reminds me of a tack shop or the tack room in the barn. It is the Mad Hatter's workshop, so it has a leather scent to it, and I really like that. And as I'm working with the putty in my multi-placer, is it this one? Which one do I have it in? I have it in this one. So as I'm working with the putty in my multi-placer here, like when I'm having to move and squish the putty around to make it refresh and stuff, occasionally you get a fresh scent of that leather, which I like. My main complaint with it is it breaks down a lot faster than my other two types of putty. It's not a bad putty. It lasts a very good while, but for what I have available to me, it breaks down faster. But it's still good. I still like it. I think it'll be good. And this is the putty is stuff that you would put in your multi-placer. You don't. I've never seen anybody put putty in their single placer. I guess they could, but I've never seen them do it. So there's that one. All right. So now we have Randa's Crafty Corner again, and she also has a putty that she uses, or that she sells, and her putty is a little bit firmer than Mary Mud's, and I like that. It lasts a little bit longer. The scents on hers are not as, on this one anyways. This is the only one I have. But on this one is not as strong as Mary's, and that kind of disappoints me because if I'm going to get a scented anything, I want to be able to smell the scent. But it does work very well. I currently have it in my 4-placer here. And it is fairly soft, but it doesn't tend to break down. Like if I technically have this overfilled a little bit, so like the putty will push off to the edges, and I'll just push it back on the top. But I've noticed it doesn't break down as much as the Mary Mud's does for me. And I don't know if that's just a difference in the putty formula or maybe the I don't know. I just know that's what it does. So it's a good putty. I enjoy it. It lasts a good while, but it still does not last as long as the main putty that I found that I like. So I would recommend Randa's putty. I think it's a good putty. So if you're looking for that, there's that as well. And then on to my two actual favorite putties. And these come from Excuse Me Designs. Now, Excuse Me Designs has two versions of putty. They have an original putty and a 2.0 putty. So, what the first thing I notice about their putty that is different from Mary's and Randy's or Randa's is their putty is much stiffer to work with. And it also comes in this container. But there, as you can see there, it pulled apart really easily and didn't like stretch super, super thin. Like I had to actually grab a really thin part to get it to do that. Whereas Randa's and the Mad Hatter's, theirs will stretch really, really, really thin really quickly if you pull on it. The only thing I don't like about Excuse Me's is their container design. I feel that the container's too small. I would almost rather it be in something like this, but at the same time I kind of don't like this. I don't know. I don't know what kind of container would work better, but I feel like something else could work better. But I love their putty because their putty lasts for freaking ever. Like, it really does. It'll last forever. Usually I wind up changing it out. Not because it actually needs to necessarily be changed out, but because I've used it for so long, it has wore down so far into my multi-placers that it can't pick up drills anymore because it's not touching them. So she does have a original version and a 2.0 version. The main difference between them is the original version is not as stiff, and the original version is a lot softer than the 2.0. I like the 2.0 best because it is stiffer and it lasts a really, really long time. As long as you don't push too hard, they work just fine with ABs. Honestly, any of this stuff works just fine with ABs as long as you don't push too hard. And I am a very hard placer myself. And so I'm actually, right now I do not have either of these in any of my multi-placers because I was testing out Mary Mud and Rhonda's Corner. And I wanted to see how the differences would be. So I had taken these out of all my multi-placers. These used to be the only things in my multi-placers. But ultimately, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use up what I have of these two and then go back to using these. And she has a bunch of different scents, and I have a bunch of her stuff, and I really like them. So, Excuse Me Designs putty is actually the one that I highly recommend because it lasts a very long time, and I enjoy working with it. Mary Mud and Rhonda's Crafting Corner, their putties are nice. They're very soft. They're easy to work with. So if you'd rather have that, have fun with that. I think all of them work just fine with ABs as long as you're careful with how you use them. So, we're going to move on to the last part of my review, which is probably going to be the most interesting. So, as you've noticed, I have metal tips on all of my pens. All of my pens have metal tips now. The only reason this one has plastic is because I don't currently use this pen. But I wanted to pull it out because it has a different metal tip on it. Okay, so what is the advantage to metal tips over plastic? For me, the main advantage is these ones are thinner. And I don't have to worry about these ones having the shape of the drills carved into them in less than a week. So that I like. And I'll tell you right now that I have found that, oh, come on, camera. There we go. I have found that I like the curved tips because it enables me to keep my hand in a more restful position when I'm doing all my placing. So I have found that I actually really like curved tips on my stuff. Let's see. So the metal tips, these, let me straighten it out. These metal tips all come from Everlasting Tips on Etsy. She is an Australian company, and she has fantastic quality of what she produces. This one is the only one that I had to put washi tape on to keep it from wiggling out. All of the rest have been very easy to put in or pull out as needed. Before I had gotten my bent tips, my curved tips, I had her regular straight tips, and then I was like, you know what, I really like how this one, how the bend of this helps my single placing, so I used that. And so I decided to go ahead and order some of her bent tips for the multi-placers if my camera would decide it wants to focus. There we go. So as you can see there, the multi-placing tips are bent as well. Other than this one where the tip is not bent, but this one is. I love these tips. I have no complaints about them at all. I take that back. I have one complaint. My main complaint with the new bent tip ones is they're really deep. Like the reservoir area for the putty and stuff is really, really deep. Like, I think they're almost excessively deep because I had to put so much putty in here to be able to start using them. So I think that's my main critique, is I feel like these are just, they're too deep. They either need to be shallower or these need to be shorter, in my opinion. I could be wrong. That's just how I feel. I feel like this, the reservoir could be like half of what this is. So, there's that. Yeah, other than that, I have no complaints about it. This tip here, since I did include it, I will show you. This tip here is actually the one from Diamond Art Club. And I hate this tip. It's the reason it's on a pen I don't use. Um, I feel like it is far too long, and I have put this tip in multiple pens, and in every single pen I had to put washi tape around it, like 3 or 4 wraps to make it fit, whereas with this one I only had to do 1 wrap of a piece of washi to make it fit. But this is also, come on camera, focus. There we go. But this pen also is a custom pen that my boyfriend had made for me from a shop on Etsy that I cannot remember the name of. If I can get him to remember the name of it, I will put it here. But I don't remember the name of it. But he had this one made for me especially because they were one of the only shops I found that had a thin design here at the tips, because this thick bulky design that everybody likes to do right here where you would hold it, I don't like those. So he picked out this pen for me, and I love it. I have absolutely loved using it. I use it every day. So yeah, this is the tip from Diamond Art Club, and I don't like it. My piece of advice is, if you're gonna spend money on a metal tip, go to Etsy and get you a metal tip from Everlasting Tips. She does, if I remember correctly, she does have some straight tips, and she also has tip inserts where you can take and she'll tell you how you can take the copper tip out of your plastic insert and put in a steel tip that she sells. So there is that as well. So that is my review of tips that I've tried. And just because I was using this to hold my pens, I might as well give my review on this as well. This is a Bella de Nicole tray from Craftably, from when they did I guess a promotional offer with them or whatever. I went ahead and bought one of the trays to try because I liked the general look of it, and I love purple, so that was one of the selling factors. And this has become my standard small tray that I use. For me, it's much better than any of the other small trays I have used in the past. I have tried several different companies' 3D printed trays, and this is the only tray that I've tried that I still use. And I've spent a lot of money on some 3D trays, and this is the only one that I use. All the rest are really rough and aren't smooth. I had even, yeah, I'll just leave it at that. It just depends. From the experience of buying this one, I would say that Bella de Nicole is a good product, but I can't say for sure because I've never bought any of her regular releases, because I can't personally really justify $25 for one tray. I did that once and hated the results, so I'm not doing it again. So, that is my review of my hoard. My hoard! So yeah, I do have a hoard of different types of diamond painting extras, and my review of them is as such, to the point where I have found the ones that I like, and I have found the hiccups and everything else that I've experienced. So I figure I might as well share that experience with all of you, so that you guys are more informed as to what's out there. Maybe you've heard of some of these companies, maybe you haven't. Maybe you've tried them, or you've bought them but haven't actually tried them. But these are just my experiences. And I also want to say, since Oralora is right here, Oralora apparently is starting to do candles now too. And I got one of their candles, and it's called Watermelon Salad, and it smells really good. I recommend it. It smells like it's fantastically smelling. It's not an it is a strong smell, but it's so it's not overpowering. It's strong enough that you can smell it, but it's not overpowering and it's not overly sweet, and I like it. So, if you're looking for a nice candle, Oralora does have some nice candles right now. I think they have 2 scents, watermelon and lemonade or something like that. So yeah, there is that. Alright, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed my personal review and opinion of these small shops that are available on Etsy and Oralora. I hope everybody gains a better understanding of how some of these companies differ and how your experiences and how you place things can also highly affect your opinions on stuff. And seeing as how I am a hard placer, I find that that most of these products don't work well for me. If you are a more gentle placer, I'm pretty sure a lot of these will probably work better for you. But you'll have to see what you have to see. But these are my thoughts and my opinions, and I wouldn't say any of these shops are horrible. Well, I'll say this one's horrible because however this one, okay, yeah. I do not, under any circumstances, recommend not your pink wax. Uh, yeah, that was a very bad experience. Anyway, thank you everybody for being here. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found some useful information in this. And I hope to see you guys in the next video or at the next stream. Don't forget to check the description for all the links. Hit the like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. And I'm going to quit being a freaking standard YouTuber. And I'm going to leave. See you later, y'all. Have a good night.